Guten Morgen. Half a day and Heckian. I hope I can edit that out. Me laughing at my own old man sound. But we're back! Last we left off on Sherlock Holmes and the Silver Earring, a thunderstorm rolled in and cut us out in the middle of our game, so I have to redo this! It's great. Save often, kids.
I hear laughter coming from the powder room.
Why does he seem taller? Oh, the game was giving me problems when I was trying to open it. Oh, he's as tall as the doors! A file may have been reacquired. Come on. Come on, Holmes. Does he seem taller?
Good afternoon, Mr. Holmes. James has just...
Oh, my...
We've been through this.
I must say...
That... that is but another souvenir of my...
I came...
We've been through this nonsense.
Does this photograph belong... And how... I've got to go now.
Thank God we saved there. Where were we? We were at the questions part when the thunderstorm rolled in and said, F you, Nina. I can tell you there's like, I think a day left. So I was like, I know, we're close to the end.
This lieutenant seems a very commendable person. Miss Lavinia is fortunate to have him near. Lestrade was saying that he has found more evidence of Grimble's trail. The corpse we found at the cement factory may well have been an accomplice and the true murderer of Sir Bromsby. Grimble could have easily obtained an invitation for him to the reception. Then, some time after the deed was done, Grimble eliminated his accomplice to prevent his speaking. Or perhaps not. Whatever are you musing about, Holmes? Holmes?
What is it, Watson?
Blast it, Holmes. You haven't heard a word that I have said.
It is of no consequence. Tell me, have you had the opportunity to redeem the item with the receipt we found at Hunter's?
Oh, yes, it was a simple matter. In order to get the best price, Hunter agreed to redeem the item within 2 days' time. Look, these appear to be real diamonds.
Oh, it works with these.
It seems to me that we have gathered all of the key elements, Watson. However, before we retire, let's summarize our findings. The questions should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
I might have to unplug. It's just, I forgot to plug it in while I was sleeping. So our headset might not last as long as we would like it to. But that's okay. Questions. Was the leader of the thugs who attacked Holmes directly connected to the case? Didn't we say yes? We did say yes. And it was in the document section that Lestrade gave us about this lovely gentleman. Can we say the person who killed Simon Hunter is skilled with weapons? Yes? Yes. It's as far as we got in the questions before the thunderstorm rolled in and said, bow bow. In the testimony sections with Appleby. Appleby? Yes. I recall he told us some things. Are the ruins near Richmond's Abbey a common haunt for wanderers? Yes. And I believe that was the brother? Yes. Can the handwriting on the message found in the ruins be the same as the one on previous document? Yes. I remember he said it looked like somebody's. Alright, the ruins. Would there be letter from an alcoholic? Where am I at? Oh, it's the threatening stuff. Where's my threat? And then threat, right? Yes. Is it easy for a retired English officer to find work as a prison warden abroad? Yes. I love that shit. And it was Herman? No, it's in the documents section of that.
It is simplicity itself, Watson. We have answered all the questions.
The last day. Ooh, you just walked out of the carriage.
Hello, Watson.
Good morning, Lestrade.
Oh
You
no!
are an early riser.
Why is he so tall?
Good morning, Lestrade. You look really tired. You must have had a lengthy meeting with the minister.
But hold on. How on earth could you know that, Holmes?
I can read you like an open book.
Why is everybody so
I
tall?
jest with you, gentlemen.
It's not the proper time for jesting, Holmes. But upon my word, how did you find out about the minister? I was assured that only 3 or 4 persons at most had knowledge of this meeting.
Oh, I would rather withhold my explanation.
So you must be aware of the subject of the meeting.
Indeed, but Dr. Watson knows nothing of these events.
Well, our incorruptible yet ever practical minister shared the thoughts of the Chancellor of the Exchequer with me. They've decided that it would be most imprudent, given the crisis we're under, for a young lady barely 18 years of age to take control over one of the country's 3 biggest building enterprises.
I begin to understand, but
According to the minister, despite his bad habits due to the lack of consideration for his partner, Grimble is the only individual that the council has faith in to reverse the current state of the Bromsby holdings. It was further explained to me that if there is a choice to make in the direction of my investigation, and lacking any new evidence to the contrary, I must take these concerns into account.
this is outrageous.
Look at Lestrade's feet.
And you, Lestrade, what are your personal
go past the
thoughts on
table.
matter?
I really can't say, Holmes. The prospect offered by Grimble seems so attractive. He had credible motive to murder Bromsby and then foul it. In addition, he was the only individual with apparent access to the shed
Wait,
at the cement
is that not the
factory where we
bottom?
discovered the corpse
No, it
of his
is!
presumed accomplice. However, the only gadfly to this theory is his statement to Dr. Watson when he clearly renounced all rights of succession.
That is an item of singular curiosity.
It is difficult for me to believe that a man who could plan and execute 2 or 3 murders with such cool presence of mind would give up an opportunity of this magnitude so easily. I also have spent sufficient time at Sherringford Hall to have a high opinion of Lieutenant Harrington.
I agree with you. This young man, by all accounts, has an unimpeachable character.
I have no evidence to cast doubt on the truthfulness of his testimony. We reconstructed the crime, and it was evident from where he stood he could easily see Miss Bromsby despite the crowd. Really, Holmes, I'm not a man who would hand over an innocent girl to the executioner, even should it cost me my career.
I am pleased to hear you say this, Lestrade. By the way, Lestrade, have you any knowledge of the place known as Aston's Theatre?
Is it that shabby theatre that lies near the bank of the Thames?
Yes, several weeks ago it was acquired by the Fairfax Theatre Company. Their international tour appears to have been most successful, as they are set to open their new play in a week. Dwight Richards happens to be their director.
You mean the author of the threatening letter that we found on Bromsby's desk? I must admit, I thought the letter to be of small consequence. After all, it involved a matter from so long ago.
Sometimes old wounds are the most painful. In fact, we are leaving for Aston's right now. I know that you are quite busy, but if you feel like joining us, meet us at noon.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can maybe fix them being all super squished. But hi, Larrington! It is Slenderman. Because I know it was having problems opening. So I went in and was like, re-verify the files. So let's see if maybe fixing the resolution again fixes it. Okay. Oh! It did the thing again. It did the thing again where you can't see it. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna be sneaky. I'm gonna be sneakity sneak. Shh. Breaking the magic. Shh. Secrets. There we go. Yay, they're not so uber tall. But yeah, if you looked at Lestrade's foot, because I was like, oh wait, the table keeps going, because I looked at Sherlock's side and it kind of ended. But then it's like, no, you see Lestrade's foot passing past it. So I was like, it's bad. In you go, Holmes.
Aston's Theatre. Here we are.
Yeah. No longer are they slender people.
We are not open to the public yet, gentlemen. Oh, bless my soul. I can hardly believe my eyes. It is the young Sherlock Holmes, isn't it?
Watson, allow me to present Philotomy Kirby, who in his day was one of the last great hopes of the popular stage. He also took great pains to advance my comprehension of the many subtleties of the theatrical arts.
So he can still prattle away. Don't listen to him. This is the most talented student I've ever met, upon my word, as an actor. But those days are past. So, am I speaking to the former actor or the world-renowned detective today?
Tell me, what you know about the Fairfax Theatre Troupe?
2 months ago, they returned from an international tour. Richards, their director, had managed to secure the necessary funds to buy back Aston's. It seems he had finally resolved his troubles.
He was in some kind of trouble.
Oh, bah, it's always the same with those tours abroad. Your star actress marries an emir. Another time the entire troupe has their luggage stolen. Anything is possible, and whatever occurs is usually nothing good. But who would have imagined such a tragedy?
Where? Where do you see saucy statues? Did I miss it? Is it on the other side?
What tragedy?
Oh!
Their last tour started about 3 years ago. At that time, the troupe was housed at the Fairfax Theatre. But a series of failures forced the owners to sell it at a substantial loss. The owners were 3 individuals: Dwight Richards, their current director, Miss Davenport, their star actress and the mistress of Richards, and lastly, a young actor, costumier, makeup man called Jeffries. They decided, after the sale, to launch an international tour in order to raise funds.
Their success was
Whoa,
assured?
look at that load. Oh
Yes,
shit, wrong number.
the fame of English theatre is worldwide. During their travels, Jeffries and Miss Davenport developed a close relationship, which was much to the regret of the hot-headed Richards. He is a gypsy by birth. No one can be more possessive and quick-tempered than a gypsy.
Pray continue.
In short, a dark tragedy occurred in a village in Latin America, located not far from the Amazon. One evening, after their performance, someone noticed that Miss Davenport and Jeffries had gone missing. The local authorities were notified, and the alarm was raised.
Okay, stop talking. Adobo! Heck yeah. Also, I think it's not PC to say that anymore. Hi, Tony! Heck yeah. Also, heck yeah, Adobo. Thank you for bringing more loads into this game.
And Richards?
Richards was implicated in some manner, it seems to me. However, there was no proof of his involvement, and no bodies were ever found.
What a strange case.
If you need more details, you should ask the actors. As you may observe, they are rarely able to hold their tongues.
How is everyone doing today?
I will see you later, Kirby.
Yes, it was good seeing you
I
again.
feel like I'm yelling at you guys, but it's probably just the music again. Come! Walkity walk! Walkity walk! I believe in you, Holmes. Okay, you know what? Let's go around. You're right, though. These are slightly saucy statues. Just full nudity. Alright, let's go chat with these actors.
Hello, young man. What are you looking at?
Oh, I'm sorry. You startled me. I'm looking at her.
What's
Are you
it?
from the press? Of course you are. You must be here to interview her.
I hope
The
this
play
location is good.
wonderful, and Miss Caroline will surely shine. If only my father could have seen this day.
I?
Your father?
Yes, I am Bruce Aston, and my father was Clyde Aston, the former owner of the theatre. It may have fallen into some disrepair, but during its time it was well loved by so many. A host of young actors debuted on that venerated stage. Why, it was at this very spot where Mr. Richards first met Miss Davenport.
He's a lover of theater. I'm here for it. I got my fan. I'm here for the drama.
Are you a part of the troupe?
Yes, when Mr. Richards noticed how I had worked to keep the place up, he hired me. I helped Mr. Kirby a little, and also Mr. Trumpet backstage.
What do you mean he hired you? Your dad owns the theater.
Are you a part of the troupe?
Is that
Yes,
what I clicked?
when Mr. Richards noticed how...
Fairfax Theatre.
Have you ever heard of the Fairfax Theatre?
It is the theatre which was demolished. It seems to me that it had been owned by Mr. Richards together with Miss Davenport and a friend of theirs. They left on an extended tour, but I think it went badly for them. After his return, Mr. Richards bought the theatre back from the bank, and I do hope his good fortune will continue.
Well, we can hope.
With the talented Miss Caroline, I think anything is possible. And the building is still solid and comfortable. Though the bank took over the theatre, they left the keys. From time to time, I would do what I could to tidy up a bit or see to a broken window.
Hi, Dickens. Again. How was your trip? It looked amazing. I am jealous.
Goodbye, young man.
Goodbye, sir.
Alright, who's next? You wearing makeup? I love it.
Excuse me, may I ask you some questions?
Naturally, I'm listening to you.
Here for it. Still driving home? Focus on the drive home then. We shall be here. Yay! I'm glad it was amazing.
You are rehearsing at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, we are in rehearsal for the play we are to perform at the month end. Are you critics or reporters? As you know, we just came back from an extended tour. We were a triumph everywhere we performed.
Nice. Congrats, bro.
Tell us about this international tour.
We performed in France, in Switzerland, and even for an Arab prince. We were met with acclaim at every stop. If tragedy had not occurred, we were to appear next in New York. But fate had other plans for us.
What sort of tragedy?
Oh, surely you must have heard about it. All because of those in our company who assumed the right to reveal every distasteful and intimate detail of a most tragic event. Anything to gain publicity for themselves. It is positively scandalous. But even a professional actor such as myself respects the privileges of the press and the public's right to know.
Your sensitivity honours you.
Please, continue your story.
The events took place in a most sordid place in Brazil named Guacamole or Babiamo or something like that. I still can't stop asking myself what we were doing there in the first place. But to be brief, our talented costumier, Mr. Jeffries, had been having a tete-a-tete with the beautiful Miss Davenport. Unfortunately, she was still very much the mistress of our director, Mr. Richards. I tell you, the tension was unbearable.
Really?
In the view of a professional, they were the worst hours of my life. Miss Davenport was spending the whole day closeted in her room. Mr. Jeffries trembled so uncontrollably that he was unable to do our makeup. Mr. Richards stepped in, and I must say, he was a pitiful substitute. May you never be so ill-fortuned as to have your face in his large, hairy hands.
Oh my god. The tea! The tea is real with this troupe! You don't own any normal balls. Dang, Adobo. Where are your balls at?
And then?
Our first performance in that town was naturally well received. That very night, a tragedy took place. Mr. Jeffries and Miss Davenport went missing not long after the performance ended. It was impossible to find them. Then we heard that Mr. Richards was arrested on suspicion of murder regarding Miss Davenport and Mr. Jeffries. We were outraged and most indignant. Some entertained thoughts that we would never leave that godforsaken place.
How was the matter resolved?
Fortunately for Mr. Richards and all of us, the prison warden and local chief of police was an Englishman. Lacking direct evidence or even a corpse, the accusations against Mr. Richards could not stand. He was set free on the spot. I think that had it not been for the intervention of that young expatriate, we might have been stranded in that Amazonian swamp for all eternity.
You sunburnt your legs? So does that mean you have like... What is that ice cream called? Is it called Napoleon ice cream? Neapolitan? Where it's like chocolate, vanilla, strawberry? So do you have like tan, burnt, pale? I'm sorry your legs are sunburnt. I hope they feel better. Alright, good day, sir.
Well, thank you for your assistance.
That's all right. Don't hesitate to seek my help.
Saying for all eternity instead of forever. This is the way. This is Britain. You have anything to add?
Don't listen to that milquetoast. He gets positively weak in the knees over redheads. A policeman is just a policeman. That's it. If Richards isn't in jail, it's only because he had nothing to do there.
I'm sorry, milk toast? Don't listen to that milk toast. What is... I'm trying to figure out the insult besides being like literal like just toasted milk. Don't listen to that milk toast. I'm just gonna start calling people fruit as an insult. Like, don't listen to that peeled banana. They'll be like, what? It's like, you heard me.
We were talking about the tragedy which occurred during your previous tour, and...
You aren't the press, are you? No. In my opinion, you seem more like policemen. Well, listen closely, inspectors. Miss Davenport was nothing more than an aging woman who adored seeing all the men at her feet.
What? Don't you mean...
She toyed with both Richards and Jeffries like two little puppets. Dwight Richards is quick-tempered, but he wouldn't harm a hair on her head. And if you are eager to be so helpful, please, find my red-haired wig.
I think milk toast is equivalent to inferior. To Google, right? Like, it's such an odd insult. What does milk toast mean? Milk toast is a breakfast dish consisting of toasted bread in warm milk, typically with sugar and butter. It's a real thing. How do you... What? I mean, I'm looking at the picture, and it's just... A timid or feeble person, or feeble, insipid, or bland. There's sugar and butter on the toast. It's kind of yummy. I guess because it's like a simple breakfast. I'd be horrible at insults. Interesting. It's a real dish and an insult. What if you have a friend that you call milk toast? You're like, hey, you want to grab some milk toast? And they're like, do you mean our friend or do you mean the dish? I'm a bit of a sour lemon. Oh, I know, Diggins. Right, goodbye, madam.
We must continue our investigation.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, cool. Alright, is this... She does. She can talk to me.
Hello, miss. I'm sorry for disturbing you.
Oh, you are welcome.
Ooh, that earring.
Are you rehearsing the new play?
Yes, we are hard at work. Excuse me, did I just hear Mr. Kirby calling you Holmes? Is it really possible that you were the great detective, Sherlock Holmes, and you were Dr. Watson?
Hold up. From the character Casper Milk Toast, which is funny because in the game they spelled it like normal milk toast, not like that milk toast. of the comic strip The Timid Soul, created by American cartoonist Harold Tucker Webster. Oh, he died in 52. And first published in 1924. The character is named after the American dish milk toast, a food consisting of toasted bread and warm up. Here was me thinking it was a British term. Me too! Then again, I'm not American, so of course I wouldn't know that America had a dish called milk toast. What region of America is milk toast common? Is that like a Western thing? So I don't understand how you make it. You just have warm bread and then you just pour warm milk on top of it? Consisted of toasted bread and warm milk, typically with sugar and butter. Salt, pepper, paprika, cinnamon, cocoa, raisins, or other ingredients may be added. Is this where Cinnamon Toast Crunch came from? Don't worry, I am also betrayed. What does it mean to be called milk toast? I'm not the only person who's asked this. I love that. Timid, meek, or unassertive person. The implication being that a milk toast person is afraid to stand up, worried about backlash. By literary extension, things can be milk toast as well. Yes, it's mostly used as an insult. It's also related to a breakfast dish. But where? Where? In New England region of the United States, milk toast refers to toast that has been dipped in a milk-based white sauce. It was popular throughout the late 19th and 20th century, especially for young children and for the convalescent, for whom the dish was thought to be soothing and easy to digest. What is a convalescent? It is back, oh god, what was it? The game we played, I think it was called A Town of Lights, where they're like, oh, it's a woman, and she's talking, speaking her mind. She must be completely out of her mind. How dare she have these thoughts and think she's independent? So, yeah, okay. Okay, so it's someone who's in recovery from mental health. You fed him milk toast. Although not as popular in the 2000s, milk toast is still considered a comfort food. Okay, so where's the New England portion of the United States? I don't know anything about America.
I'm investigating the facts of the terrible events that occurred during the company's last tour.
Oh, I see. You were interested in that case. It's still a complete mystery, even for those who were there.
What a New England region, USA. Oh! It's like uber northeast. So it's like Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. That's the New England region. It's known for its colonial past. Okay, and Atlantic coastline. Okay, cool. So everybody way up there in that corner was like, milk toast. Milk toast. You're like, this is the shit.
Tell us about Miss Davenport.
She was fabulous and positively mesmerised men. She confessed to me that she had been indiscreet with our costumier, Jeffries. She had left Richards before, but she always came back to him. She said he understood her completely without her even saying a word.
Until that last time.
Forgive an admiring expert, but your earring is absolutely magnificent.
Oh, that was a gift from Veronica. She got it along with 2 other matching earrings and a small jewel case. She gave me this one, another to Doris, and kept the most beautiful for herself. Veronica insisted on cleansing it herself weekly with a special cleanser. It was remarkable and kept the earring all sparkling like stars. When I saw her last, Veronica was wearing her earring. She never parted with it.
Where can we find Doris?
She must be in her dressing room.
To the dressing room.
Goodbye, miss, and thanks.
You're welcome, Mr. Holmes.
I feel like the thing though, like, if it's a New England region, then does that not mean that it came from Britain? Oh, is she okay? Right? I feel like it's a British term, right? Maybe the Americans just took it over.
Pardon?
Why can people not allow actors their peace and quiet? They walk through here as if it were a common thoroughfare. Nothing strange about that. They still haven't bothered to change the locks. Anyone can enter at will and abuse me. Me, who in the 50s, I was rather good actually. Did you see me? With the best, me. And they just treat me and, oh.
Madam!
Are you rehearsing?
Everyone has his own technique. Cheers!
Miss Small told you about your earring. Would you mind showing it to us?
It can't be sold. Do you think that actors have no heart? I would prefer dying of thirst than parting with it. My friend, my best friend Veronica, who I love like my own daughter, she gave it to me. My little Veronica. She... Veronica.
Alright. The initial colonization of the Americas was sponsored by various European nations who naturally had precisely zero imagination, and when they got there, named their new sphere of influence New England or New France, etc. Right? So I'm like, okay, if that was the New England region, then does that not mean that milk toast came from there? Because as we all know, Americans aren't really Americans. They're a bunch of Europeans who are like, F you! I'm going out! They're like, yeah, what are you gonna do? They're like, I'm gonna get on this boat, cross that ocean, start my own shit. And they're like, all right, good luck. And then, we had a war. And they had a war. So I feel like milk toast, in theory at least, would come from the Great Britain, no? Urge to revisit Sid Meier's colonization rising.
Do you know what has happened to your friend?
Left. She left with that Jeffries. Oh, I know what they say. That Richards murdered them both. Why not? He did everything for them. Everything! She was naught but a common flower girl, and that Jeffries was a mere servant. He made them actors. Yes, actors. Yes.
You play as one of these sponsored civilizations, and the natural endpoint is declaring independence and kick the invading army that is sent to reclaim their land back out. Yeah, sounds about right.
Oh, we'd better leave you to your work.
Out! I need to concentrate.
Alright, madam. Not exactly, as some food trends start locally despite being from within European forelands. Okay, but that's what I want to know. Did milk toast come from England? Or did a bunch of people in the 1900s were like, you know, be really good right now? Warm milk on toasted bread. They were like, yeah, that's the shit. Alright, you have 2 doors. Oh, I don't want to leave.
Let us see whether we can find other evidence.
Yeah, I want to... Oh, there's nothing in here?
Let us see whether we can find other evidence.
Okay, I thought I could investigate her room. See, always considered a better game than the Civilization games because you're building up to that
What
conclusion
chaos.
instead of the game petering out. I suspect it's a case of necessity being the mother of invention. When was the toaster invented? Because here's a very dumb question. Before toaster, how did we toast things? Like, did we just, like... did we just take 2 hot skillets and just, like... I have questions.
Through the
would that
flying
work?
dragons of the Virgin Islands, the land of gargantuan man-eating crabs, love in the heart of the Black Desert. This author seems to be particularly inept.
so many questions. My gem-eating boy. Oh, I probably should try to catch that. Barbecue it? Ooh. Whatever a pizza oven was called before it became known as a pizza oven. Well, I'm saying, like, I'm imagining just a single slice of bread, right? A simple bread. You know, we have toasters now. But back in the day, because apparently we were making milquetoast in 1924, so I'm like, when was the toaster invented? Yeah, before the electric toaster, people toasted bread by placing it in a metal frame or on a long-handled toasting fork and holding it near a fire or over a kitchen grill. So everybody was right. Bread was also toasted on a hot stone in front of the fire. The practice of toasting bread became popular in the Roman Empire. Oh shit, we've been toasting for a long time! The word toast actually comes from the Latin tostum, which means to burn or scorch. The first breads were likely toasted by laying them in front of the fire on a hot stone. Oh my god, that's way better than my idea of just two hot skillets going. Wood stove, iron skillet, grilling iron. I was gonna say hot stone. Congrats on the Sableye. Okay, hot stone. I mean, did anyone ever fry an egg on a sidewalk? Because I know we did that once in Guam. It was hot. We didn't eat it, but it did cook it.
These items are poorly made. Observe the antique armour has mere painted relief.
Force digging, stay safe.
These items are poorly...
Okay, they're poorly made. Anything else we can check out? I know we read the books, but he was like, meh. Wait, so when was the toaster invented? In 1906! Oh shit, no wonder milquetoast got popular in the 20s. Ended the game. Nice. Nice. Good job, everybody. Good job. Alright. Let's see. Dressing room. Yeah, we talked to her. It's time to speak with Dwight Rogers. Oh, I'm supposed to go talk to Dwight at this moment. Oops. I went to the wrong place. Anything over here before I leave? Nope. Come, Holmes. I'm in charge now. Oh, now I'm back to being you. Dwight?
Who is it?
Mr. Richards, my name is Sherlock Holmes. You may put away your knife. Rest assured, I am indeed Sherlock Holmes. Thank you for receiving us, Mr. Richards. Would you mind if I asked you a few questions?
I will answer your questions, Mr. Holmes, only because I have heard about you.
Okay.
Would you tell me about Sir Bromsby?
I will not lie to you, I hated Bromsby. He is the cause of all my troubles, I swear. I have often dreamed of killing Bromsby with my own two hands, but I didn't kill him.
You know, that's interesting that I brought him up and that was the first thing. Could've been like, he was a great man, but he irked me. You were like, nope, I hated him. I wanted to kill him. But I didn't. Nice save.
Do you know an Asian named Wang Jie?
What would he be doing there? Well, in the days of the Fairfax Theatre, I once employed a Chinese fellow who went by that name. However, I was forced to dismiss him because he was a great deal of trouble, and I've never seen him since that time.
You retain several keys from the Fairfax Theatre, don't you?
Well, I don't understand the purpose of your questions, but yes, there were indeed two keys for the Fairfax Theatre main door. When the bank took possession, we gave only one of them to Bromsby's assistant. When asked, we lied and said there was only one key.
But why?
Well, we kept the other one out of spite. We had thoughts of returning in the night and wreaking havoc, but we had no opportunity, as we left for abroad after the transfer to go on our tour. I suppose the key may have been lost somewhere along our travels.
I love that. Out of spite. You know, I exist out of spite, so that's a fair emotion to work with.
About the disappearance of Miss Davenport.
I don't know why you want to talk about it. Does some vile curiosity cause you to torment me in this way?
Thank you, Mr. Richards.
It is nothing, Mr. Holmes.
I should reveal one of my hints.
Ooh, the earring.
Oh, this can't be possible. How did you come by this? Dear God, if only someone like yourself had been present that evening.
Please tell us what's happened.
That night, after the performance, I left to stroll alone along the riverbank. The next morning, I had barely returned when I was seized by 2 local policemen and led to a prison cell for interrogation.
Why?
When I got there, an Englishman, the local chief of police, told me that a deserted boat had been discovered along the opposite bank of the river. Inside the boat, I found a star covered with blood. It belonged to Veronica, who had vanished, along with my other partner, Jeffries.
And then what happened?
No one could prove my innocence, but they also found no proof of my complicity in these events, nor had they found any bodies.
He said my other partner. He didn't say my costumer, my rival. He said my other partner. Oh my god. Throttle? Yes, please?
Tell us a little more about your partners.
I had met Jeffries while on tour. He was just a young tramp drunkard. Whatever my feelings were then, I feel no pity for him now. He betrayed me. But it wasn't the same with Veronica. I fear the pain caused by these events will forever haunt me.
You said feelings! Holy shit, I'm here for it. I'm here for the throttle.
Thank you, Mr. Richards.
It is nothing, Mr. Holmes.
Not even looking at me.
This man is a wonderful actor.
Maybe, Watson. Maybe.
Okay, so turn yourself around, look down the hall. You've come to the closer of the 2 doors, which will lead back into Doris's dressing room. Watson. Why the action changes to Watson here, I'm not sure. Okay, but we did the table. Did that. How bodies are destroyed by feeding them to the piranhas. I know we got that book, but let's make sure. Ooh, why is her face? Ooh, the game's breaking a little bit. I'm a little concerned about saving at this moment, but we're just gonna do it anyway. Ooh. Everything's a little broken, it's fine. Deep branch. It's quite original. They use primitive spears to harpoon big fish while they wash from their dugouts. More sociable than the rest. Leather goods. Okay, yeah. Alright, so we got the book, right? Is there anything else in that room? Papers list of the costumes that should be in the closet of the room. Click on the clothes. Costume list in the inventory. We did not grab the costume list. Back we go. This costume?
A set of costumes. There are 30 listed.
And they don't match this.
But I count only 29. Yes, the artillery officer uniform is missing.
I'm guessing the guy that's chatting up Miss Veronica is not a military officer? Anything else I gotta do in this room? Remember the button Holmes found in the kitchen at Sheridan's Hall? It was clearly a fake. Connection? Yeah, so I'm betting the dude who's like all up in Veronica's business is like some weird fake actor guy. Unless... Is that Collins? No. Maybe? Maybe. Can I go down this hall? Can I? Doesn't look like it. Or the guy who was blind is the fake. Ooh, that's also a good point. The guy who... But why would he then willingly give up the information about what type of gun was used? You know? Okay. Watson, I need you to move out of this hallway space, because that's where I go, right? She let us in now. Is there anything to do in your room? Anything to do here? There's 2 doors here. Where does this door go?
We are in the backstage area.
Can I go in here? This looks like an interrogation. Just a little bit. I know this place. Hello,
May
sir.
I ask you a few questions?
It all depends on what you're asking.
I like them.
What are you doing?
My job, my lord. I'm making this jumble look a bit neater.
Could you tell me what happened in Brazil?
Yes, my lord, I was there when it happened. But Mr. Richards takes it very personally if we chat about those times, and I won't risk my position without some consideration, if you get my meaning.
Here's 5 guineas. How's that?
Oh, my lord, you're too kind. I don't really know much of what happened. You see, I was alone at a tavern that night, and I was, as one could say, very fond of the local alcohol. When I returned to our lodgings, I learned that the actress and the costumier had taken to their heels.
And what did you do then?
I made my way to the inn with all haste to learn what they'd taken in their sudden departure. You must understand my position. I was solely responsible for the security of the luggage and troop properties. Can you then imagine my surprise when I saw that nothing was missing? Absolutely nothing. They hadn't even taken their personal items. I can understand that of a man like Jeffries, but it was most unusual for a lady such as Miss Veronica. So the idea came to me that perhaps they hadn't truly left, you see.
And what of Dwight Richards?
I learned that Mr. Richards had been seized by the local authorities. It seemed he was under suspicion for the murder of the missing lovers. This was too incredible. And then there's another odd thing that weighs on my mind. When we finally returned to England, Mr. Richards asked me to do him a small personal service. What was strange was that he insisted I keep the matter confidential and not breathe a word of it to anyone.
What kind of service?
Well, there's a small room with an iron door located above the backstage. It was used to store the stage lights and fireworks. He asked me to help him move all of Miss Veronica's personal belongings to the room. Every little thing, without exception. Her large trunk, her dresses, all of it.
Where is this room?
The end of the passage, but there is one difficulty. You see, Mr. Richards has the only key to the room's iron door, because only he has a complete set of keys to this building.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye, my friend.
My respects, my lord.
Why would he move all her stuff? Did he kill her? Oh, the plot thickens. Up.
Closed.
Do I have a key? I have a key. I don't have a key. Do I have to steal a key? What am I doing here? Things to a locked room. Go back through Dorsey's room to the audience and talk to Bruce Ashton again. Oh! Of course, I would immediately assume that I would just go back the way I came and talk to someone else and be like, you have the set of keys! Keep going. We gotta go talk to the little kid. Bruce! Hand me your keys. Welcome back. Alright, Bruce. Hand him over.
She is fabulous, isn't she?
Do you have a complete set of keys to the theatre?
Oh, yes. Take them. But you will see to their safe return.
Of course.
Goodbye, young man.
Goodbye, sir.
He's just, like, so enamored with her. He's like, she's gonna be a star. Alright. Let's go investigate Veronica's belongings. I like that Holmes doesn't run indoors. He only runs outside. He's a gentleman. Alright. keys. Oh, come here.
Watson, stay there and inform me if Richards arrives.
All right, Holmes.
Let us see whether we can find other evidence. That is of no use to me.
Okay.
Nothing of any interest here. A gift from the gods. I have no interest in this.
Really, that's it? Only the two things? But some of them prompt Holmes to say that he has no interest in them. The two that are of use to the objects are on the floor. Okay. But they don't go into the inventory because all you're doing is moving them. It's that box which is the focus here. Oh.
I need something.
Magnifying.
Nice pattern made of encrusted nacre. What does it mean? This lock has never been forced.
I don't even see the lock. Where do you... Key? Knife? Holmes, help me. The lock has never been forced. The silver work on the box is of sort of beach scene, but there are a few pieces missing. Wait.
I see. To open the safe, I must have the two other earrings.
So do I have to go get the other earrings? Is that what they're telling me? Find if it's on the left. Ah, so the earring is a key, and the other earrings, the ones Veronica gave to Carolyn and Doris, they must be the other keys. You have to get those earrings in order to open the box and get the final clue you need. Okay. Let's go get a key, right? Yep. Well, Doris is passed out, so should be easy. Watson, where'd you go? There you are. Hello, my friend. Is it just on her?
I don't know where your wig is.
I cannot take her earring.
You gonna give her more booze? What are we doing here? Let's see. If she'll lend you her earring. She's still quite out of it, however, and Holmes cannot take it from her by force. So instead, head back to the audience hall and approach Miss Small. Okay. To Miss Hall! Hopefully she'll sober up by then. Alright, you, madam?
Oh my stars.
Would you mind lending me your earring? I shall give it back to you in a few moments.
Certainly. Maybe you would like to borrow Doris's earring as well. I don't believe she would give it to you, but to me, certainly. If you wait here, I will get it for you.
Let's go. You're the best. Alright, bye. Interesting. So what is in Veronica's trunk? Oh, wrong door. This door. Is it a clue to who murdered her? If she was murdered? Unless, what if Miss Davenport is such an amazing actress that she is the imposter soldier man?
Closed.
Oh my goodness. Keys again.
Watson, stay there and inform me if Richards arrives.
All right, Holmes.
Honestly, that'd be like the greatest twist ever. It's like, haha! Amazing actress fooled everyone. Alright, key.
It is elementary.
What do we got here?
Descriptions of exotic landscapes. Nothing of interest. Richards and Miss Davenport standing in front of the old Fairfax Theatre. But who is this third man?
Is it Grimble?
Well, well, gentlemen, you arrive at precisely the right moment.
Is your good mood a sign that you have found something of interest?
Absolutely, Holmes. It seems to me I caught the right end this time.
What? Really?
We learned about it only by chance. It appears that at 1 o'clock this morning, Grimble arranged for his solicitors to send his demands to the court for the appropriation of Bromsby Enterprises. My men will spare nothing in their search for the elusive Grimble.
Lestrade, pray continue.
Then I followed your advice and we advanced further into our investigation of Mr. Richards. Did you know that his true name is Gaetano Riccardino? As this Mr. Riccardino, at age 19, he was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment for armed robbery of a fair store. And who would you think the complainant was in this case? In truth, a certain Melvin Bromsby. This new evidence of his criminal past makes him another principal suspect in these murders.
Very interesting. Any other findings?
It would seem that Grimble and Richards are old associates. They were both intimately involved in the sale and transfer of the Fairfax Theatre. These two make quite a pair, don't you agree?
Well, Lestrade, I'll keep my thoughts on these matters secret for the moment.
Bah, you're not playing according to Hoyle. Really, Holmes, you must at least tell me your opinions on Richards.
Mr. Richards is an intelligent person. He is a man of great personal resources. If I had the power of Scotland Yard at my disposal, I would take all steps necessary to ensure that Mr. Richards is secure within a prison cell. And the sooner the better for all concerned. When the case involves murder, it is not wise to underestimate any possibilities.
You are a good man, Holmes. I swear upon my name that within the space of an hour our friend Mr. Richards will be warming a cold cell at Dartmoor.
Very well, my friend. By the way, I would like to see you tomorrow at Sherringford Hall to discuss in greater detail some of the more puzzling elements of this case. Can I expect you?
I would not miss it for the world. This is most fortuitous, as Miss Bromsby also invited me to the hall. I was told they had good news to share, and it seems to me an engagement announcement must be at hand.
So, we shall see you tomorrow. Let us return to Baker Street.
Why
Well, is
why
Lestrade
tomorrow?
right? This case does seem resolved.
There is but one piece missing that I need to complete this puzzle. Oh, it's not very important from the criminal point of view, but from the economic aspects of this case, it is essential. Regarding the question of whether Lestrade is correct, I will give you 2 items that should provide the answer that you seek. The first is a table representing the shoe sizes of the main characters in this case. Examine it carefully, Watson.
A parcel for you, Mr. Holmes.
Thanks, kid.
Ah, this would be Mycroft. Here is the final piece, which completes our puzzle, Watson.
Would this be the second element?
What second element?
You have just said that in order to determine if Lestrade is correct, I would need to consider 2 items. You told me about the shoe sizes, and I ask if this news article is the second clue.
Oh, no account. The second clue is a question, a very simple question. The answer will take the grass under the feet of several English citizens, for if they cannot even guess the answer to this question, they are for the gallows. The question is as follows. Watson, do you think that Horace Fowler slept with a cushion? It seems to me that we have gathered all of the key elements, Watson. However, before we retire, let's summarize our findings.
Wait.
The question should be answered.
Wait.
We must have made an effort.
No, I want to save. I want to save because I have. What? What? It will take the grass from under the British citizens' feet because if not, it's the gallows for them. The question is, did he sleep with a cushion? What?
The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Are there several sets? Oh god, I hope none of these are a no. Please tell me none of these are no. Oh, thank god, they're all yes. Oh! Yes. The kid. Bruce Ashton. My game is slightly breaking. Did one of the actors lose a red wig? Yes, it was... not Miss Sullivan. Doris. Could the discovery in the dressing room be connected to this case? Yeah. Oh god. Yes! now. Okay. I read something red. Oh, my game. My game is broken. Hold on. What if I do this?
We must have. The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Ah! Oh no! This is fine.
We must have made.
Wait. What if I change the size? Right? Like, what if I make the window smaller? Give it a second. Give it a second.
The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
What do you guys see? Okay, that's what you see? Okay. Hold on. Can someone add a I believe it's a exclamation borked plus, if I'm not mistaken, and that will add to the list of or exclamation borked space plus. Because I know exclamation borked is just the this is fine gif playing. You would be so kind, Diggins.
We must have made.
We did make an error. Here, let me see if it seems to do something. So we're gonna keep trying it. We're gonna see.
The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or.
Oh, we're so close. Like this looks great. This is the problem. This is the problem. You're the problem child. Okay. I don't know why my Borked Plus isn't working. Is it Borked Plus? It's one or the other. One or the other. Alright.
We must have.
Oh, Holmes. Alright, let's see. Maybe this size? I also tried to change the page as well to see if maybe that fixes it, you know?
The question should be answered.
Oh! It got a little better! It got a little better. Alright, question 3. What was it? Oh, there's 2 answers. Both are found in the reports section. Yeah. Nina broke it. Ah! We're getting closer, though. We're getting closer. I don't know what this blue box is, but...
We must have made an...
I know Holmes. I just literally can't select it. So give me a chance. I'm gonna just turn down the frequency just to see if that does anything. Give me a chance here.
The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence. We must.
It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's not fine. I turn off shadows. I broke it. We're like at the end too. We are at the end. That's the most upsetting part. Like it's just this, and then like another set of questions, and then the big reveal. We're at the end. We're at the end.
The question should be answered.
You know what? We're gonna try closing it and opening it. You know, sometimes that works. I have this one, so if I actually have 3 different save spots that are close to this area, so... Alright, we're just gonna... Yep, I'm gonna just dip out real quick. Secrets! Ah! The end is that we find out the game is borked. Consider a restart. Yeah, I'm gonna also see, because, like, hold on. Bork? Gives me that. Broken. I thought it was borked plus. It's broken plus. That's on me. I've broken 13 games. That's not bad. We're halfway through the year, and I've only broken 13. I'm impressed with this. Alright. Here's hoping. Here's hoping that a simple restart fixes it. Ooh, don't scare me like that, game. I was like, Alright.
The question should be answered.
Okay. 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 I'm gonna just quickly do 3 and 4. Okay, so let's see. Could the discovery in the dressing room be connected with the case? Yes, both are found in the reports section. Alright, let's see. There's a costume missing. Ashton's theater dressing room evidence shows that one of the missing, and Sherrington Hall. The discovery of a fake artillery button in the kitchen. Sorry, Sherringford. I keep calling it Sherrington. Someone has lost an interesting button. Okay. Both are found in the document section. Could the writing on the message to Veronica Davenport be found elsewhere? Yes. I just want to go before it breaks. Where is it? Antique dealer, right? And French visiting card. Okay. Lose a red wig. Yes. Doris. And yes, where is the small child? Bruce.
We must have made an error one. The question should be answered yes or no and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Your first conversation with Bruce. I feel like I've only had one conversation with Bruce because it's Herman, Lavinia, and then him, and then Bruce. And that's the first one. Yes. And the testimony saying you're... Oh, Miss Sullivan. Yeah, Doris Sullivan. Oh, sorry, not the drunk lady. It was her. My bad.
It is simplicity itself, Watson. We have answered all the questions.
You have successfully completed your investigation. The following questions are optional, and you do not have to answer them correctly to reach the last step of the game. Who killed Sir Bromsby? I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna think to myself. I think it was whoever the fake person is. Veronica, Wyatt, or nobody. What if it was nobody? What if the little automaton guy like made a gift for Bromsby and it just happened to go off and kill him? You know? I think it's Harrington. I feel like he's the fake. It's Harrington. Who killed Horace Fowler? Ooh. Who killed the man with potatoes? What if? I think Wyatt. I think Wyatt did it. Who killed Johannesson? I don't know. Because I don't remember. Just be spicy and be like, Miss Lavinia did it. Who killed Veronica Davenport? Honestly, Richards is hella sus about it. Who killed Jeffries? Richards. Who killed Hunter? Oh, who's Hunter? More spice. Veronica. You did not answer correctly. Do you want to proceed to the final movie ever? Wow, a lot of corpses in this one. But I'm gonna take a peek at the guide, see what wisdom it offers us. Close the notebook when you're finished. Congratulations, investigation is an optional quiz and endgame. There is one more quiz, but you don't have to answer it. You can just scroll down past all the questions and click yes to see the final movie. But if you like to take it, these are the questions and answers. Cover. Once you have answered or skipped the questions, sit back and watch the final movie as the world's greatest detective ties up all the loose ends and reveals once and for all the guilt of it. Yeah, go. Who did it? Tons of
Cabby?
Who did it?
Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, I feel relieved that everything is settled. The inspector told me that you were not as useful as you had hoped in this case, but you did your best, and I am grateful to you.
Dear Lestrade. Well, the inspector deliberately minimized my role in this matter so that I could reveal a secret to you.
I wish Lieutenant Harrington could be here now, but...
He had to leave for London on a very urgent business.
But how could you know?
It is my business to know, Miss Bromsby. Thus, I am able to tell you about the case of the silver earring. Everything begins on that sad afternoon, which was to celebrate your birthday, and ended with the untimely death of your father. Miss Bromsby, you did not murder your father. I kissed your hand that day and did not detect even the slightest smell of gunpowder. I also discovered powder traces that proved the shot was fired from behind the second side door. You were not seen at that door, but where did the murderer go after taking his shot? Everyone who tried to exit through the side entrance found it blocked. According to witnesses and other evidence, none of the guests could have possibly been the murderer, because they were all present in the ballroom. No one left through the service door, and traces confirm that no one could have fled by using the staircase. The windows in the kitchen, as elsewhere in the manor, were appointed with thick bars, thus they offered no escape. So did he vanish into thin air? In fact, one of the parties did leave the ballroom and went to the kitchen corridor. He left to meet his accomplice, who was not an invited guest. This accomplice was a professional actor who was disguised to resemble our missing invitee. This guest hid under voile in the shadow of a statue and waited for his moment. Meanwhile, his twin acted out his part in the ballroom and provided the murderer with a perfect alibi. When the killer heard the applause, he left his hiding place, aimed, took his shot, and hit his target. It is important to know that the actor was well placed at the manor. He secured entry to the manor by impersonating a French head waiter. Using his position, he persuaded those in charge to use long tablecloths and to arrange the tables in a most peculiar manner. When the shooting occurred, our actor joined the crowd and rapidly crept across the room, concealed under the tables. As he neared the side door, he rose from beneath the last table and acted as if he had been jostled and fallen. However, as he stood, he accidentally snagged a small piece of his dirty glove upon a chair. When he arrived at the door, which was held closed by the murderer, he tapped on it using a prearranged code and was allowed entry. He exited to the corridor while his partner continued to hold the door shut against all others. The actor discarded his disguise in the deep kitchen well, helped himself to 2 bottles of excellent whiskey, and quietly went outside. The assassin waited several minutes. Then, in the last seconds of the confusion, he returned to the ballroom. Thus, we have the crime committed by an individual whom everyone swears was in the room when the shot was fired.
But this agrees with my conclusions. Richard is an actor, and everyone swears that Grimble was in the room. I didn't consider the course of events as you described, Holmes, but admitted, our deductions agree. Moreover, both of these suspects are similar in size and manner.
Your theory
Sorry, I was
assumes
laughing at
that
the
Grimble is an excellent
steam.
shot, which is false. It also takes on faith that Sir Bromsby had discovered the misappropriations, supplying Grimble his motive, but irrefutable proof that neither Grimble nor Richards were guilty waited at Horace Fowlett's, the matter of his pillow.
But there was no pillow at Horace Fowlett's.
Nevertheless, Mr. Fowlett slept with one. When I arrived at his home, I believed him already dead. Therefore, the news of his hasty departure came as no surprise. From the evidence obtained at his home and the statements of his neighbour, I learned the following. On the evening of his death, Mr. Fowlett was visited by a man who desired to sell him some exotic trifle. While this man distracted Mr. Fowlett, a second man quietly crept into the house and tried to open his safe. This individual was well acquainted with the house and the location of the safe, but when he failed to open it, he most likely became enraged and killed Mr. Fowlett. This individual, Miss Bromsby, was your cousin, Wyatt Collins, who returned to England under the name Johansson.
But what about this pillow?
Mr. Fowlett's pillow had vanished. Later, Dr. Watson discovered a feather from the pillow in the train compartment used by the man who impersonated Fowlett. But why did Fowlett's impersonator take the pillow, and why didn't the station manager notice it? Mr. Fowlett was short, but very portly. In order to imitate him, the man used the pillow to create the appearance of a stouter man. There is no other explanation. This man was a much leaner man than Mr. Fowlett, Mr. Grimble, or Mr. Richards.
Then, Holmes, who did murder Sir Bromsby? And for what reason?
You'll see, Lestrade, when it's a question of multiple murders, except for the deviant ones, there are two primary motives, revenge and greed. Wyatt Collins' presence at Fowlett's tells us his motive was about Bromsby's wealth. He went there for the express purpose of stealing the will so that he would receive at least a portion of Bromsby's estate. If his uncle had died with no will found, Collins would have been entitled to a share of the inheritance under English law.
But if my cousin failed in his attempt and the evidence clears my name, though I am to inherit, why were my father and cousin murdered? Besides, tomorrow I am to announce my engagement and will be married soon.
Holmes, hold on. There is a flaw in your reasoning. There is only one key for the door to the cement factory, and Grimble is the only person known to have it. So he must be directly involved in the murder of Collins.
Is that true, Lestrade? Mr. Richards told me that there was indeed a second key which was lost. And have you forgotten the murder of the barman hunter? A young man without any criminal record, whose sole interests were painting and flowers. Why was he murdered in cold blood, with no signs of forceful entry or theft at his lodgings? Simply put, he was killed because he was present when your father was murdered. But why Hunter? What did he see or hear? And above all, how did he acquire the earring of Miss Veronica Davenport, the leading actress of the Fairfax Theatre and Dwight Richards' mistress?
I can stand this no more. My thoughts are dazed. Will you finally reveal who murdered my father?
The murderer? Here he comes now. I understand your feelings of incredulity, but I have never been more serious. You must know that the first person who enters this room is the murderer of your father, Miss Bromsby, and I will provide irrefutable proof of their guilt.
Aha!
Well, good afternoon, gentlemen. You made the right choice to leave London. It is unbearably foggy. But Lavinia, darling, what's going on?
She knows.
But how? I mean, what? What does she know? I don't understand. Whatever do you mean?
Oh no, you understand me clearly, Mr. Harrington, and you also, Spencer. Or should I say, Mr. Jeffries?
Explain yourself, Mr. Holmes. What a monstrous misunderstanding.
Oh, I've just explained myself to Miss Bromsby about the truth of her father's murder, but I can tell the story again from the very beginning. It begins several years ago. Wyatt Collins, the nephew of Mr. Bromsby, is forced by his uncle to leave England for South America. His hatred is fostered by the ingratitude he perceives in Sir Bromsby. Wasn't his uncle's career financed by his mother's money? In Collins' mind, Melvyn Bromsby owes him an eternal debt of gratitude, and was thus obliged to finance Collins' indolent lifestyle, fulfilling his every need. Here is our first criminal, Wyatt Collins. Then we have you, Mr. Harrington. You were a brilliant student at the Military Academy, and are an excellent shot, are you not? You were the only person at the reception with sufficient skills to make the shot that took Sir Bromsby's life. During my investigation, I learned that ex-officers of Her Majesty's Army enjoy great favour around the world for administrative positions. You left India and made your way to Brazil, where you obtained the position as warden of the prison in Guaquiamo. Do not try to deny your presence there. The pictures in your hunting portfolio could have been taken nowhere else in the world except Guacayamo. We now have our second criminal, Lieutenant Harrington. Mr. Jeffries, your arrival in Guacayamo set things in motion. The theatre company had come to Brazil as part of their worldwide tour. You had been involved with the lovely Veronica Davenport, and loved her with a passionate yet possessive love. However, Miss Davenport did not share your affections. She had in fact tried several times to end your affair prior to the company's arrival in Guacayamo. It seems she was truly devoted to Dwight Richards and would never leave him. After you arrived, you frequented the town's bawdier spots. This is where you first met Mr. Harrington, and you quickly became close companions. It seems tedium and heartbreak do bring certain people together. After the performance, maddened by alcohol and grief, you killed Miss Davenport because she had rejected your love. You then fled to your newfound friend, the warden, to confess your crime and beg for his help. In a show of friendship, he helped dispose of her corpse and directed suspicions towards your rival, Dwight Richards. Afterwards, you lay low, leaving the others to believe that you had been killed or had gone missing. You stayed hidden until they had departed, and you must have kept Miss Davenport's earring as some morbid souvenir. No doubt you also retained not only the key to the Fairfax Theatre, but the keys from Aston's, where you had been employed several years earlier. Here, then, is our third felon, Mr. Jeffries. Life was difficult in Brazil for our trio. Mr. Jeffries rarely went out, Mr. Harrington's men were talking behind his back, and Mr. Collins' funds were inadequate. One evening, Collins spoke of his cousin, who, in a few months' time, was to return to England from finishing school. She was also the sole heir to one of the greatest fortunes in England. Imagine these three men besotted with alcohol, considering the wealth that would one day pass to this slip of a girl. A terrible plan was devised. Several days later, they left for England, false papers for two of their party in hand, resolved to seize a portion, if not all, of this great inheritance.
Incredible!
Yes, incredible, and horribly true. At first, their plan was to forge a duplicate will or destroy the original, so that Mr. Collins would receive a share of the estate. This would happen soon enough, as they would murder Sir Bromsby at his daughter's birthday reception. It was essential that Collins enter the country under false papers, so that neither his uncle nor the authorities would be alerted to his presence in England. This would avoid any suspicion attaching him for his uncle's death when he arrived to claim his inheritance. They quickly put their plans into effect. Mr. Jeffries arrived at the household in the guise of a stylish French head waiter and studied the lay of the manor. Mr. Harrington, the assassin, would accompany a person with rather poor eyesight to the reception, so that the illusion of the fake Mr. Harrington would go unchallenged. As the head waiter, Jeffries was in a unique position to study the guest list. He quickly learned that two of the guests, Miss Rowntree and Colonel Patterson, had both poor eyesight and were unaccompanied. Lieutenant Harrington was quite busy in the days before the reception. He courted Miss Rowntree with great dedication and made fast friends with the Colonel. He hoped to secure one, if not two, invitations to the reception. Your arrival as the Colonel's guest was your first error, Harrington. Is it credible that a young officer who left the army because of his hatred towards all military authority would easily befriend a man who embodies everything that he detests? But your efforts bore fruit, and you obtained your invitation. Mr. Jeffries, as head waiter, took great care that the tables and tablecloths were arranged specifically to accommodate their schemes. Mr. Jeffries then secured the disguise for his role as the false Lieutenant Harrington. He remembered that an officer's uniform, similar to Lieutenant Harrington's, and a red wig, identical to the colouring of the lieutenant's hair, were in storage at the Fairfax Theatre. He learned that the company had taken up residence at the site of the old Aston Theatre, for which he still had the key. It was therefore a simple matter for him to acquire these items for his masquerade. They now only lacked the will, which Mr. Collins presumed was kept at Flowlet's house. Their plan was to take these papers prior to the murder of Sir Bromsby, so that Flowlet would be unaware of either their presence or a substitution until it was too late. But things went badly. Mr. Jeffries tried to divert Mr. Flowlet, but he must have been alerted by some noise, as Collins struggled vainly to open the safe. Upon being discovered, Collins killed Fowlett on the spot. The two conspirators then left the house in such a way that witnesses believed it was Fowlett himself who had left. They would now have to find another way to get hold of the money, because no doubt Sir Bromsby had disinherited Collins in favour of his daughter. They decided to take the money from his daughter, a young, naive and vulnerable young woman. On the day of reception, Mr. Harrington arrived with Jeffries, disguised as his servant Spencer and the Colonel. With the promise of whiskey, Jeffries easily secured the unwitting aid of two fellow servants and assumed a position at the service door. He wagered that he could pinch 2 or 3 good bottles of liquor from the kitchen if his companions would cover for him. I have just explained what happened next. After the shooting, he took 2 bottles of excellent whiskey. Only someone knowledgeable would have taken these 2 bottles over the others, and Mr. Jeffries had been formerly employed at a luxurious hotel in France. Upon his return, he gave an accounting to his fellow servants, did his hair, and left the manor. The promised delivery of the liquor and his frightened look secured the 2 men's cooperation in providing his alibi. They could not have known his true role in these events. The one problem for the conspirators was the barman Simon Hunter. He had perfect eyesight, unlike the Colonel, and realized that the man who claimed to be near the bar at the time of the murder had in fact lied. He hinted as much to Mr. Harrington and most certainly intended blackmail. As they were short on funds, the accomplices gave him Miss Davenport's earring as collateral and pledged to return with the money he demanded. That night, when Lieutenant Harrington visited us in London, he had just come from Simon Hunter's. Hunter had told Harrington that the earring had been pawned and he would not reveal the name of the shop unless Harrington paid him his money. Mr. Harrington ruthlessly killed Hunter, and the earring so precious to Mr. Jeffries was lost. Earlier that morning, Jeffries lured Collins to the cement factory on the pretext of fabricating false evidence against Grimble. But they no longer needed Collins to acquire the Bromsby fortune. Mr. Harrington would wed the young heiress, then, after a reasonable time, they would cause her untimely death, and they would take it all. So Mr. Jeffries murdered Collins and made sure his body was barely recognizable. If he was identified, it would not affect their plans, as they believed leaving the corpse at the cement factory would direct suspicion towards Grimble. When Mr. Harrington came to see us, he learned we were hot on Collins' trail and had traced his movements up to the factory. He assumed we would go there within the hour and left to quickly round up his associates and devise a plan. Jeffries, from his days at the Fairfax Theatre, knew an Asian of questionable talents who had no visible ties with this case and could attack us without drawing suspicion their way. We avoided this attack, and from that moment I was convinced of Lieutenant Harrington's involvement in the conspiracy. The last elements of proof were revealed at the vagrants' camp near the monastery outside of London. Mr. Jeffries had tramped through England in his past and might have thought to hide Collins in the forest near the Richmond's Abbey. The very day that I was there, he tried to destroy all evidence of Collins' murder. Fortunately, he did not manage to destroy everything. It seems Collins, foreseeing his possible death, left a small surprise for his accomplices. It would be easily missed, except by someone who observes all and misses nothing.
But this is merely some draft to lull us to sleep, Mr. Holmes. Lavinia, surely you can't believe these mad accusations. They arise from nothing. What proof do you offer for what you say? None.
Believe what you will, Mr. Harrington. I will warn you that Mr. Collins left a letter written in his own hand, which named yourself and Mr. Jeffries and accused you both of complicity in the murder of his uncle. At this very moment, Inspector Lestrade's men are conducting a search of your rooms. They will find the evidence that, when added to the accusations within this letter, will prove your guilt beyond all doubt. The Chirapaqui cigarettes, your portfolio, as well as a feather from the pillow which was taken from Horace Fowlett's. These items prove my deductions. I suggest we wait here for their arrival with these proofs, and I assure you our wait will be brief.
Bravo, Mr. Holmes. Well done. Accept my apologies, my dear Lavinia. I think under the circumstances it would be best if we postponed our engagement. I'm sorry for your father, but what do you expect? We had to give it our best shot.
Where is the earring now? You will tell me, where is it? Unless you tell me at once where the earring is, no one will leave this room alive. Don't you understand? You are all going to die.
Oh,
They are all yours, Lestrade. I suggest you return with your agents to London as soon as
let's
possible.
go.
Thank you, Mr. Grimble, for literally applying my precepts. Watson, let us escort Miss Bromsby to her rooms. She will need her rest.
Holmes, Collins never named either Harrington or Jeffreys in his letter.
What happened to my
Indeed,
subtitles?
Watson, but they could not have known. I
Just
played
realized.
my bluff, and they believed me.
And Grimble, where did he appear from?
You can now boast that one of the most influential men in England served as your driver. Since my visit to Fowlett's, I knew that Grimble had nothing to do with this crime. I asked him to assist with the investigation, and it was at my request that he took steps to acquire Bromsby Enterprises. He gained us precious time by forcing Harrington and Jeffreys to wait and see if Miss Bromsby would inherit. He ran quite a risk in doing me this favour, because their plot then turned against him. I also asked him to send the letter which lured the two murderers away from the hall. I needed a moment to explain everything to Miss Lavinia. It would be dreadful if she fell into the hands of her father's killer. From the beginning, Grimble was concerned only with saving her inheritance. He never once doubted her innocence.
Aw.
Nevertheless, didn't he misappropriate those funds?
Indeed, but not for his own profit. It was solely to protect his friend Bromsby. An ex-architect with whom he had quarrelled, a Mr. Waters, had contacted Sir Bromsby before this intrigue began. Waters learned from Captain Bowie that Sir Bromsby had encouraged certain actions against workers hired to build a bridge in India. That project was the bridge over the Kalidasa Abyss. Waters blackmailed Bromsby from afar. Grimble received the letters and considered them to be quite serious. He knew his hot-tempered friend well and preferred to conceal the blackmail attempt for fear of disastrous consequences. So Grimble made regular payments to Waters in exchange for his silence. Unfortunately, Collins discovered the arrangement while he was working at the cement factory and threatened to reveal everything. Grimble could not afford for that to occur. He managed to rid himself of Collins by sending him to Fowlett. Then it was Bromsby's turn to discover the blackmail by sheer accident. He was angered, but before he could decide his next move, Mr. Waters died suddenly and removed all threat. When Grimble learned that Waters had died, he confessed all to Bromsby. He noted that the money paid was a pittance when measured against Bromsby Enterprises, and that the same amount could now be applied in other ways. India had enriched them so greatly, and Bromsby had been cursed over the harm done to the Indian people in his employment. It was decided that these same funds would now be sent on a monthly basis to a Bombay orphanage in the care of a Sergeant Brahamai. It is possible that Bromsby intended to increase his patronage, and this was the important news he intended to reveal to the press at his daughter's reception. It was she who had harshly reproached him regarding his behavior towards the Indians in his employ. Do you remember the words from that poem which he had written into his notes? It said that the ungrateful always die miserably.
Indeed, Holmes. But there is one thing that I still don't understand. Why did you ask Lestrade to put Richards behind bars? He wasn't guilty of any crime, but you treated him as a murderer.
I advised Lestrade that it would be prudent to place Richards in custody so we could protect him from harm. Mr. Richards is a wise and intelligent man. He would have recognized Harrington and Jeffreys on sight. When he realized that Jeffreys was alive and that I possessed the missing earring, he would have drawn the same conclusions as I. So this investigation would have been stopped cold by one or two more murders.
I see.
Well, Watson, you seem to know everything. Tell me, please, that small missive which I can see on the desk. It contains 2 invitations to the opera's opening night, does it not? If so, we shall finally have our opportunity to hear this marvellous soprano. Well, what do you say, Watson?
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. That was such an answer. I was like, that's... okay. Like, I figured it was, you know, the little military man. I was like, it's gotta be him. but I was like, oh, I didn't realize Jeffries was still alive and that Johannesson was cults. It was, whew. Good stuff. Good job. We did it. Not even a thunderstorm could stop me from finishing this game. Not bad. That means we get to start the next one. If I'm not mistaken, the next one is a remake of another one. And then the one that we're doing this whole thing for is essentially the remake of a remake. So I'm curious what it's gonna be like. I'm assuming similar vibe to this. Oh yeah, because you guys still have the fires happening, right, Tony? The freaking gun. I love that Holmes is just like... You're a doctor and a trained soldier. How do you forget to load your gun? Oh, Watson. Oh, and the game closes itself out. Alright, well, 1 second. Let me go get the next one booted up for you guys.